What's going on? What's going on? We on the road, on my way to buy some things. But anyway, let's get into some boxing. So Canelo Alvarez, he took on Billy Joe Saunders last night. It was a good fight. I believed that Canelo Alvarez was going to win the fight, but at the same time, I didn't want to just write off Billy Joe Saunders. I don't necessarily like writing off people because you never know. You never know what's going to show up in that ring when you face them. When Rosario faced Charlo for that unification, it wasn't supposed to be Rosario that was supposed to be in that ring. His previous fight, he was supposed to be an opponent, but he went in there and and shocked the world and became champion. Had that belt put around his waist. So you never know. So even though Billy Joe Saunders has been kind of iffy these last couple of fights, it was still a kind of, let's see what he brings to the table. Maybe he'll be able to come to a certain level that we haven't seen before. But he was doing good. I think for the most part, he was doing good. A lot of movement. He was placing his shots well. Canelo Alvarez was pushing the issue. He was pushing the pace. His little jab, trying to hit him with power shots. He was basically trying to physically break him down. But Billy Joe was doing okay. He was doing all right. And it's crazy to me because people always talk about how, Canelo has improved since the Floyd Mayweather fight and this and that, and he's so much better than he was before. And, when we saw, he beat Amir Khan, but in the Amir Khan, you could kind of see, those same flaws still. When he fought against Lara, you could kind of see those same flaws still. And this is the first time, even in the Danny Jacobs fight, he won that fight, but he only won it by one round. If Danny Jacobs actually had some testicular fortitude and pushed the issue, he would have got at least a draw, or he could have pulled out a victory. Go look at the cards. He only lost that. He was one round away from that fight being a draw, but he just doesn't push the issue, And in this particular fight, we kind of saw those same flaws, like the same things he was open to, and like when he fought against Floyd Mayweather, he's still open to those same things. And I think that's one of the main reasons why he tries to stay away from slick boxers. There's a reason why he stays away from, like, let's say, the Demetrius Andrade type of style. And I actually believe he'll beat Demetrius Andrade, by the way. So I'm not even saying that, Demetrius Andrade will beat him, because I believe he'll still beat Demetrius Andrade. But he doesn't want to face that type of style. He stays away from Charlo, because Charlo's somebody with power, but he's that slick type of fighter that can counterpunch, that can move a little bit. It's just he wants to kind of stay away from that style, I believe. But he still, but he was still doing his thing because he still was pushing the pace. He was still pushing the issue. He was getting caught here, caught there. But again, he kept on pushing the issue. He's like, I'm going to break you down, and eventually I'm going to catch you. And it was a really close fight. Some people had Billy Joe Saunders actually ahead by a couple of rounds. By the time what happened. Up by a couple of rounds. He was doing really, really good. And then, boop, I just saw that hit. I heard that punch, man, and I saw it. I think it was in the 8th. And it was like, it's over. It was over. And Canelo knew it was over. He saw that man's face, and you could just see a smile just went up on his face. Because he knew, he's like, it's over. It's a done deal. He ain't making it. He's not getting up, Jim. He's not making it. And Canelo just needed it. He knew it. And he just, Billy Joe tried, his best he could do to hold on, to try to get out the round. He backed up. Canelo, when they were splitting him apart, Canelo Alvarez putting his hands up in the air because he knows his fight is over. And he goes into the corner at the end of the round. Canelo's out there cheesing, smiling, and the fight was called. Not called. Billy Joe Saunders did not come out the ring. They threw in the towel. I guess, some people would say that he quit. I would say, me personally, that, he sustained a major injury if he did hurt his orbital bone. Where if you sustain an injury like that, you should stop fighting. Because you got to think about your life. You know what I'm saying? After boxing and things of that nature. But when we go by Billy Joe Saunders standards, if we're going to go by Billy Joe Saunders standards, we have to say that he quit in that fight. because we've seen this type of situation happen to other fighters, where Billy Joe Saunders has mentioned before that if he had both orbital bones broken in his eyes, if his teeth were coming out, if he had a broken nose, if he had all this stuff wrong with him, and you would have to peel him off that floor. You'd have to peel him out that ring. You know what I'm saying? Because he's leaving everything in there. He's gonna go life and death in there. He's a warrior. These are his words, that he's a warrior. And he would never do that. He would never allow that to be done to him. These are his words. So if we go by the standards that he's put up, then we have to say that he quit. You know, he quit in that fight. You know, and as far as his future, what he's gonna do, I don't know. Who knows? You know, but as far as Canelo Alvarez is done, now that his fight is over and he's become victorious, it's what's next. I really would have loved to have seen this fight go to full 12 rounds, though. I would have loved for that injury not to have happened. You know, because we're going into the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. We know how Canelo really starts to slow down. And him facing against a mover, I really would have liked to have seen what would have happened in that situation. But he took that out of the equation, period. And that's what you're supposed to do. He said, we're not going there. And I'm going to do what is necessary for me not to be put into that space. And he did. So you have to respect him for that. And you have to commend him for that. You know. But then now the question is, what's next? What's next? And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, he's facing Caleb Plant. He's facing Caleb Plant for undisputed. Because that's what he said. But unfortunately, we've been in this road before. We've seen him before with 3 belts. We've seen him just 1 bout away from being undisputed. And he was screaming the whole time, I want undisputed. I want undisputed. I want undisputed. I want undisputed. I am going to go for undisputed. He kept telling all of us this. Continuously kept telling us all of this. But when it came time to do that, he let go his IBF and WBC belt. He didn't do that undisputed bout. You know? We didn't do that. And we saw a situation where Demetrius Andres went up to him and was trying to, you know, say, yo, you know what I'm saying? You need to fight me. You need to face me. And he's like, you're never going to get this fight. You're never going to get the fight. I'm never going to fight you. And he knew the entire time when he was saying, I'm going for undisputed, I'm going for undisputed. He knew Demetrius Andres had one of those belts. So you knew if that was something that you really wanted, you know, if you really, really wanted that, then you knew that that's the guy you were going to have to face. You know? So that means you have to say basically the entire time he was lying to us. It's more of a, you know, if that man doesn't have the belt, then I'll go for undisputed. You know? One of those kind of situations. You know, but since he had the belt, he was like, nah, I'm good. So, unfortunately, we can't just go by his word due to his previous actions when it comes to what pertains to him being in the exact same situation as he's in right now. The fight that I want straight up is him versus Caleb Plant. 168, undisputed. I don't care if he wins, he loses. I'd give him all kinds of props in that particular fight. I think it's a 50-50 fight. You know, I think it's a 50-50 fight. And we saw this fight. We saw the issues that he did have in this particular fight. And Billy Joe Saunders goes up against Caleb Plant. Billy Joe Saunders getting his ass kicked. No disrespect. He's getting his tail kicked. He goes up against Benavidez. He's getting his tails kicked. Those are the top guys in the division. Okay? Smith, whatever his name is, he goes against those two. He gets his tail kicked as well. You know, these are the top 2 guys in the division. It's Caleb Plant and Benavidez. Benavidez messed up. He doesn't have his belt anymore. You know, and we see Canelo, again, we have to just be realistic with it. We have to give him his props, his respect for what he did on Saturday, but we also have to be realist. When Benavidez had that belt, he had no efforts whatsoever to go get that belt. He made 0 effort to go get that belt. Once he lost it, then all of a sudden he wanted to go get it. That's just the case. When Demetrius Andres had had the belt at 154 pounds, he wanted no part of it. Once Demetrius Andres got stripped, then all of a sudden he wanted that belt. We have to just be realistic and we have to be real about the positive and the negative, you know? So then the question becomes, is he really going to face Caleb Plant? I think it's a 50-50 fight that can go any way. That's a big, strong dude that I don't believe is going to be curling up, giving up in any way, shape, or fashion. Very strong, good amount of power, great movement, very skilled. A very, very skilled fighter. So will he actually do this? Unfortunately, we have to just wait and see. You know, we have to wait and see if this actually does happen, or if something weird happens, like, oh, it's going to be him against Gennady Golovkin at 168 pounds. Or it's him against Jaime Munguia at 168 pounds. Or something weird like that. But I guess time will tell. But for now, you know, congratulations on this win. And we'll see what the next move is. And hopefully that next move is going to be Caleb Plant. And hopefully that next move is going to be for Undisputed. But for now, like, subscribe, share. I'm out.